Hey, what's up YouTube? It's Story of Sam and welcome back to a brand new NBA video today here on the channel. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about Russell Westbrook and his legacy and how he's playing this season in the NBA. I'm going to be going over Russell Westbrook's playoff history, his current NBA season, and what he's done in his career so far. It's going to be a harsh truth about Russell Westbrook's legacy. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not a Russ hater. I don't hate Russell Westbrook. He's actually one of my favorite players to watch in the NBA. But of course, this is all my opinion. You can drop your opinions down below in the comment section. But right now, I'm going to be talking about my viewpoints of Russell Westbrook and his legacy and also his play this season. If you guys are brand new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. We are trying to get to 2,000 subscribers and all the recent support is greatly appreciated. And also guys, make sure to drop a like on today's video. It helps out the YouTube algorithm way more than you would know. Likes help a ton. But without further ado, let's get straight into talking about Russell Westbrook. So I want to start off by talking about this current NBA season, the 2020-2021 NBA season, with Russell Westbrook on a brand new team, of course, playing alongside Bradley Beal on the Washington Wizards. Westbrook had a quad injury. He's still kind of recovering from that. Bradley Beal and them, they just all had a lot of games missed due to protocols and stuff like that. But overall, when they were actually on the court, they still weren't extremely great. Like, they're not a great team at all. They're one of the worst teams in the Eastern Conference. They just recently had a great win against the Brooklyn Nets. That game was absolutely insane. Russell Westbrook played by far his best game of the season. Westbrook had like 41 points, hit a game-winning shot. Just overall, that was an insane game. Him and Bradley Beal came in clutch to beat Brooklyn in that game. But overall, this season in the NBA, they have not been a good team at all. And I'm pretty disappointed, to be honest. I picked this team to be a playoff team. I really did think they would compete, but honestly, this season, it's looking like they're not going to make the playoffs. They definitely could. They could turn it around. But as of right now, if I was to pick my 8 playoff teams in the Eastern Conference, the Wizards would not be one of those teams. And this season, I'm definitely disappointed with how Russell Westbrook has been playing. He's averaging like 21 points a game, 9 assists and 9 rebounds. But of course, those numbers sound really great, but they're not equating to wins. They're not equating to winning basketball. They have 2 all-star caliber players, Bradley Beal and Westbrook. They should be above like a 12 or 13 seed in the Eastern Conference. They should be way better than that. Westbrook's averaging great like overall numbers, but of course, the thing with Russ, his turnovers are always really high. Westbrook is a very inefficient player. He's shooting like 40% from the field to like 34% from the three-point line, but still, he's not shooting a high volume of three-pointers, and still, his field goal percentage as a whole just has not been great throughout his career. And that's definitely one of the things I want to talk about. Russell Westbrook's career history, his playoff history, and just all in all, his disappointing playoff performances and how his legacy is going to be after he retires. Since Kevin Durant left the Oklahoma City Thunder in 2016 to join the Golden State Warriors, Russell Westbrook has won only one playoff series since then: 2017, 2018, 2019, and 2020. He has only won in total 1 playoff series in all 4 of those years, and that's honestly pretty shocking for one of the best point guards in the league at that time. Right now, I'm not sure if he's a top 5 point guard in the NBA. When I made my top 5 point guards video, I put him at 5 like before the season, but right now in the NBA, I definitely don't think Westbrook is a top 5 point guard in the league. His great triple doubles, his great assists, rebound totals, they don't equate to wins. He gets a bunch of turnovers, he plays recklessly, and of course, he's a very inefficient player, shooting below 40% from the field in a lot of games. The most playoff success Russell Westbrook has had was in the 2012 NBA season, when they actually made the NBA Finals against the Miami Heat. They did lose that series in 5 games, but still, that was a very shocking performance. They made it to the NBA Finals. They were like 22, 23 years old. Of course, that young Oklahoma City Thunder team with Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant, and James Harden all on the same team as really young players. Of course, in 2016, they were up 3-1 on the Golden State Warriors in the Western Conference Finals, and they ended up blowing that 3-1 lead to them. But in reality, they weren't even supposed to be up 3-1 in the first place. They were facing the 73-9 Golden State Warriors. So even though they lost the series, I don't think it's as shocking. Like, I was expecting the Warriors to win that series either way. But once Kevin Durant left the Thunder in 2016 and joined the Golden State Warriors, the first season without Kevin Durant wasn't that bad. Of course, the 2017 NBA season, Westbrook had some of the best numbers in NBA history, of course, averaging a triple-double, being the first player to average a triple-double since Oscar Robertson did it a long time ago. And Westbrook absolutely carried that team. He was definitely the best player on that 2017 Oklahoma City Thunder team without Kevin Durant, the first season, the year he won MVP. Definitely one of his best seasons in the NBA. And when that team got to the playoffs, they were the 6th seed in the West. They had to go up against the Houston Rockets with James Harden. Now, obviously, those Rockets teams were really good, and the Thunder ended up losing in 5 games to the Rockets. Westbrook averaged 37.4 points a game, 11.6 rebounds, and 10.8 assists, and 2.4 steals as well. Amazing numbers. Those numbers are absolutely crazy. 37 points a game. But when you look at the field goal percentage, 38% from the field, 26% from 3, and 80% from the line is pretty good, but still 38% from the field is definitely not efficient at all. But this season I gave Westbrook a pass. They were facing against the Houston Rockets, a great team. He had to carry, he had to shoot all those shots. The spacing on that team was terrible, making his field goal percentage worse. So it was him and Oladipo going up against James Harden and the Rocket squads, and they ended up losing in 5 games, of course. So honestly, in the 2017 season, I don't think Westbrook played too bad in the playoffs, and of course they ended up losing in the first round, but it still wasn't a bad season for the Thunder at that time when Kevin Durant left. Now these next 2 NBA seasons is where I have a problem with Russell Westbrook and the Thunder. Now of course in the offseason they got Paul George on their team, so now Westbrook had a serious all-star player around him and Paul George in the playoffs 2018 and 2019, and both times they didn't win a single playoff series. In the 2018 postseason, they ended up playing a rookie Donovan Mitchell in the Utah Jazz, and they ended up losing in 6 games. OKC was the 4th seed and the Jazz were the 5 seed, so getting beat in 6 games when you are the 4 seed to the 5 seed is not great. Of course, you should have won that series, especially it's a rookie Donovan Mitchell versus veteran Paul George and Russell Westbrook. Westbrook averaged great numbers again, 29 points a game, 12 rebounds, 7 assists, but he shot 39.8% from the field, less than 40% from the field, 35% from 3, and of course they lost the series in 6 games. Paul George definitely didn't play great either, averaging like 25 points a game, 6 rebounds on 40% from the field, but still they gotta find a way to get it done. You have Russell Westbrook, Paul George on the same team going up against a rookie Donovan Mitchell in the Utah Jazz. You're the 4 seed, they're the 5 seed, and you end up losing in 6 games. You gotta find a way to get these playoff wins. It's the first round, it shouldn't be that challenging to be a 5 seed when you have the 2 better players in the series, supposedly. And now, of course, the famous 2019 first round playoff series with the Thunder and the Portland Trail Blazers, where Damian Lillard hits that insane game-winning shot over Paul George, and Paul George thinks it's a bad shot when Dame dropped 50 in that game 5, beating the Thunder in 5 games in the first round. Westbrook averaged 23 points a game, 9 rebounds, and 10 assists, but once again, 36% from the field, 32% from 3-point land. He might get these great numbers on paper, but no matter how many points you have, shooting 36% from the field is definitely not going to help your team win playoff games. So yeah, since Kevin Durant left the Oklahoma City Thunder in the 3 years, 2017, 18, and 19, the Thunder were all first round exits, with Westbrook and Oladipo in 2017, and then Westbrook and Paul George both lost in the first round in 2018 and 2019 in less than 7 games, all 3 series. See, the thing is, Westbrook always puts up great numbers. You look at the box score, you're like, oh, he averaged 25 points a game, 10 boards, 10 assists, but a lot of those stats, those points, inefficient stats, a lot of those rebounds are just uncontested rebounds. A lot of his stats don't actually equate to winning basketball games. Of course, he's only won 1 playoff series since Kevin Durant left the Oklahoma City Thunder, but now after those seasons, he gets traded, of course, to the Houston Rockets to play with his friend James Harden. And now this is where he wins his first playoff series since Kevin Durant left, with James Harden alongside him. They beat the Oklahoma City Thunder, his former team, of course, in 7 games. Now honestly, Westbrook missed the first couple of games of that series, and overall he was not good in the playoffs whatsoever. Was he playing through injuries? Maybe, but still I gotta judge him on what he did in the playoff games, and he was pretty bad throughout the entire playoff run in the bubble last year. They barely beat OKC in 7 games with James Harden blocking Lou Dort's game-winning shot. That series was a lot closer than it should have been. So once they beat the Thunder, they end up playing the Los Angeles Lakers. Of course, I wasn't expecting them to win this series, but still, they should have won more than 1 game. And after game 1, it honestly seemed like the Rockets just gave up. Westbrook and them just weren't playing well at all. James Harden put up good numbers, but Westbrook in the series only averaged 19.8 points a game, 7 boards, and 5 assists, shooting 42% from the field, 26% from the 3-point line, and 54% from the line. And the Rockets ended up losing to the Lakers in 5 games. Now I said all that because I want to open up a discussion about Russell Westbrook's legacy. Once Kevin Durant left, he has been really shaky in the playoffs. Great numbers, of course, but inefficient. High turnovers, not a player you can trust to show up in big playoff games. Now please don't take this the wrong way. I am not trying to hate on Westbrook. I don't hate Westbrook at all. I actually think he's very fun to watch. He plays with a lot of spirit. He plays the game really hard. But I just think that some of Westbrook's recent playoff series, playoff years, playoff games haven't really met the standard that I saw him as. Of course, the NBA game is changing. It's more of a 3-point shooting league now. Westbrook is more of a driver. Of course, he's not a great 3-point shooter at all. And I just think that Westbrook's game is so reliant on athleticism. He's not going to be a very good player like when he's 37, when he's 36. He's not going to be one of those players that can just keep on playing time and time again, season after season, and continue to be great. He is a very athletic based player. He doesn't have much like shooting ability, free throw shooting ability. Just overall, his lack of shooting is going to hurt him a lot when trying to like preserve his game into later years. And bringing it back to this NBA season with the Washington Wizards, of course I talked about his recent playoff series with OKC, with the Houston Rockets, and on how those playoff performances were big disappointments, inefficiencies, high turnovers. Just overall, his style of basketball, his style of play, him trying to get a lot of triple doubles, isn't going to help you win playoff series when you are on a stacked team. And it's looking like Westbrook is going to retire with 0 championships, and I really don't like that. He should have at least one NBA championship to his name, but unfortunately, unless he changes teams, like he joins a super team, joins some crazy team with a bunch of different superstars, it does not seem like Westbrook's going to win a championship in his career. Of course, unless some crazy star joins the Wizards or just something overall insane happens, I definitely don't see Westbrook winning a championship. So that brings up the discussion, how will Westbrook be viewed when he retires? What is his legacy going to be like? How are people going to remember Russell Westbrook? Are they going to remember his triple doubles, his great stat lines, all that great stuff, some great playoff performances too? Don't get me wrong, they weren't all bad. He had some great playoff games amidst the overall mediocre / bad playoff performances. There were still some great individual games, especially earlier on in his career. Him, KD, James Harden, those Thunder teams were really, really, really good. Or will he be remembered for his playoff downfalls? Of course, he still had some great playoff games. I don't want to make it seem like he never played a good playoff game in his career. More than not, he was mediocre / bad in the playoffs. But overall, will his legacy reflect fondly over his career? Or will it be slightly disappointing with all the potential of winning multiple championships and being like a top 3 player in the NBA? Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video on the harsh truth about Russell Westbrook's legacy. Of course, drop a comment down below. What will his legacy look like when he retires? In my opinion, I think it's going to be a little bit mix of both. I think, of course, his playoff performances will be looked at when talking about Westbrook in the future, but of course, he still had some great moments in the NBA. He's had some amazing stat lines, averaged a triple-double for 3 straight NBA seasons, and of course, he's still not done yet. Westbrook is still playing in the league, but Westbrook isn't in his prime anymore. He's on the Wizards. They're probably not going to make the playoffs. Bradley Beal seems like he wants out, so I really don't know if Westbrook will ever be on a championship contender again. If Westbrook could get one more shot on a legit title contender, that would be great, but only time will tell. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. And of course, guys, hit that like button down below. It helps me out a ton. It helps get the videos out there to a lot more people on YouTube. So definitely subscribe and drop a like. And if you guys do want to watch more of my NBA or NBA 2K videos, I'm going to leave an end screen right when this video finishes to 2 of my previous uploads that I think you guys would really, really enjoy. So have a great rest of your day, guys. It's been Story of Sam, and I'm out. Peace.